Hi everybody, thank you very much for joining in today, this Sunday morning. I have Rifa Chaktai with me. She's a president of PakPac Association, and she will introduce our PAC and how she's working to promote this organization. And I will give a brief introduction about Rifat, and after that she will go over about the mission and organization, which direction she's leading it to. Rifa Chuktai has been active member in Pittsburgh community for several years, and she has been working hard to promote Muslim youth group in Pittsburgh area. And she was co-chair of uh, Allegheny County Health Advisory Council, and she also serves on State Department backed U.S. Pakistani Women's Council. Rifa Chuktai, I'd like to invite you. Please say hello to audience and please go over the mission of PakPac, please.
Thank you, Shweb Chaudhary. Thank you for inviting, and thanks to everybody who's joining us today on a Sunday afternoon. I know it's a weekend and you didn't have to do that, but you're still on, so which is very heartening to know that there are other people who are as passionate about advocacy and politics as I am. I am the president of PakPac, and I took over about a couple of years ago. So today I'm just going to talk a little bit about what a PAC is initially, because this was a question that was put to me many times when I went around doing advocacy workshops. So I'll talk about the difference between other nonprofit organizations and PAC. I know there are many 501c4s that are also doing advocacy work, but there's a difference between a PAC and an advocacy workshop done by 501c4s. A PAC actually is a platform which is an advisor to the legislators. It is a platform which brings the Pakistani American community to meet with legislators and strategize on issues that are beneficial to the Pakistani American community. We are an American organization. We are not a Pakistani organization. Like other PACs, PakPac represents the issues faced by the Pakistani American community. So we use ourselves as a platform to enhance the interest of Pakistani Americans in the United States. So we are going to talk a little bit more in depth about PakPac itself. PakPac has a board of about 15 members right now. They're from all over the United States. Actually, it was done intentionally to pick board members from different states, so we would have representation all over the United States. We have been very active, and especially in the election season. You all know that we are breathing elections literally every day. PakPac has been very influential in having strategy sessions with different legislators. We support and we have discussions with legislators who are committed to federal policies that promote good governance, education, healthcare, energy issues, and security in Pakistan, and also civil liberties in the United States. Right now, as we all know, there's a lot of Islamophobic rhetoric and vicarious, unintentionally or by default, Pakistani Americans are Muslims in majority, so our civil liberties are also at stake. PakPac has been doing town hall meetings all around the U.S. For the Pakistani American community to sit down and talk to them and ask them questions about why their civil liberties are being jeopardized and why the hate rhetoric and why the backlash and what is the government going to do about the backlash and what are the legislations thinking and what are they talking about.
I think this is a very
PakPac.
important point that you brought it up, Rifat. Especially we are heading towards the primaries in Pennsylvania, and we are in primaries for across the USA. I think it's very important for Pakistani American to get involved at this point and to be heard, right, to make a difference in this in election of coming election. And I just want you, if you can highlight some of the key, specific about the Pakistani American community and some community specific that you think that Pakistani can achieve over the time.
Sure, sure. We have actually impacted some of the policies recently, such as the J1 visa issue for Pakistani medical students coming to United States through policy change, administrative policy change. We enabled the process to be very smooth and worked on diligently by the Consular Services. So in the past, out of, suppose there were about 200 candidates who applied for different positions over here for residency, only maybe 30% would be able to come in a timely manner to join the positions. But now, in the past 3-4 years, it has been 100%, which is a huge achievement by PakPac. Also, we are civil liberties. Again, I'm going to come back to civil liberties. We've had many town hall meetings where different apprehensions of the Pakistani Americans have been addressed by legislators. And the positive thing about doing it through the platform of a PAC is that we follow up. Usually what happens when some legislator is invited to a forum, they actually come and talk about it, and they say, yeah, we understand, we sympathize with you, we empathize with you, and then everybody goes home and nothing is done. PakPac, on the other hand, if such an event is done through PakPac, follows through with their offices and has candid question as to what changes are they going to bring about so that it doesn't happen again. For example, we had a session with Congressman Keith Ellison, and we had suggested to him to pass some legislation to stop the hate rhetoric, which had a backlash of hate crimes, and he immediately started a resolution which was easier to do in the House. And later on, legislation was also introduced. It was not passed, since most majority Republicans sit in the House. But having said that, there were many people who were sympathetic to this issue.
Yeah, I see that you just shared some of the accomplishment for this PakPac organization. And is any particular accomplishment you already covered that you think is not over here that you'd like to talk about that?
Yeah, I think there's one more thing. Recently, there was an advocacy workshop done in New Orleans, which was organized and hosted by our own board member, Dr. Muhammad Suleiman, who just to educate, since, as I said before, we have a two-pronged approach. One is to educate the legislators about the Pakistani American issues, and the second one is to educate the Pakistani American community about how the importance of being active politically and the importance of advocacy and using the platform of PakPac, which has a tremendous impact. We all know this is election season, and a PAC speaks much louder than a group of people.
That's right. I totally agree with that. So that leads to our next point, like what are your plans for year ahead? I just see one more slide that you put it out. Can you please talk about that?
Sure. Yeah, we have short-term plans. We have long-term plans. You'll be surprised. Many of us don't know that there are about 700,000 Pakistani Americans in the United States. So in an election season, money matters, but votes also matter. They matter more. So when that number is seen by legislators or candidates, it's wow for them that we never knew this. And then again, we talk about, as I said, money also matters, that other than the Korean community, Pakistani American community is per household income is above the rest. So we are actually kind of promoting these stats, as well as we are working with the Pakistani American community to come out and vote. Because right now, I mean, a lot of Pakistani American community members might be registered to vote, but they don't actually go out to vote. So we've been going to Islamic centers and different places, mosques, to promote voter registration and also to emphasize on voting. It's extremely important that we interact with the media, whether it's the local media or national media, which we have started doing. I was recently in Washington, D.C. with a group of Pakistani journalists, and it was covered, and it was very well covered. We are also, talking, we have young professionals who are looking for internships, and we have a dialogue with many offices, legislative offices, where they are willing to take Pakistani American interns.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. I think that's a great opportunity for our youth to get involved in the politics and
Absolutely.
be our voice, right? Right.
Absolutely. We have actually advertised an internship for PakPac as well. So any of you young people out there who are interested in politics, are passionate about it.
Meantime, I guess I will just cover about the New York meeting. I just put it out. Recently, we had hosted a congressman at New York, and young students and local community member joined us in this event. He is expected to be next chair of Foreign Affairs Committee, and he's actively involved. I think Rifat just joined us back. Rifat, are you there?
Yes.
Oh, thank you very much.
No problem.
I was just briefing them a little bit about private event that we had with Congressman in New York. So I guess you can talk a little more about that.
Sure. The good thing about PakPac is that we are not myopic in thinking that we can change the world by ourselves. We feel, we truly believe that the younger people are our future. So we have developed an advisory council consisting of young Pakistani American professionals or people of Pakistani descent who are part of the advisory council. And we have had a couple of town halls with legislators for these young professionals. And recently we had one in New York, and then we are again planning to have another one end of April in New York. So it's just the young professionals under 30 or from 20 to 40 is the age range, and they have a dialogue because they are more aware of their own issues. We want to bring their issues to the forefront, such as the high tuition in colleges and the interest rates on student loans.
Of course.
And they have multiple issues. They're more concerned about the country than, in many ways that we give them credence for.
Oh, yeah. I've been to college. I know how expensive that is. And I heard this is, these days, it's probably like 3 times what I paid.
Absolutely.
So I mean,
Absolutely.
it's a big challenge students facing. And I think they will also get exposure when they get involved, they participate in these kind of events. They understand what's at stakes and how they can influence and to shift this policy towards, that's more favorable, that works for everybody, right?
Right. Because in general, we're not just talking about Pakistani American youth. In general, the youth is very disenchanted by the system.
Yeah.
So we need to bring them back into the fold to change the system if they prefer that. Mm-hmm. And this is one way that PakPac had envisioned to do that.
Yep, I totally agree with that. I think we should definitely have more events like that. Um, Now, there are a few more events that you have shared us over here with us. Can you please talk about those quickly before we go to question
Sure,
answer? I see some
sure,
questions are popping up. I will get back to them. Please, let's cover
sure.
this presentation.
Yeah. As I said, we have been extremely busy in the last 2 years, luckily, which is a good thing. So the slides that you see, the pictures that you see are from different town hall meetings that we have been doing. We recently did that with Governor Strickland and Senator Bob Casey. Governor Strickland is running for the Ohio Senate seat, and Senator Bob Casey is a senator from Pennsylvania. So that is the reason why we wanted to do this in Pennsylvania, in Pittsburgh, my hometown. And they were asking multiple civil liberties questions, and I think to the satisfaction of the audience. They were very impressed by the questions and the education of the community on issues. And then Senator Jean Shaheen, our own board member, Dr. Saman Malik, had an event at his house for Senator Jean Shaheen, a similar kind of an issue to talk about Islamophobia. So we have been doing all these things, and it's been very successful and progressive. So we do call. Recently, when there was an attack in Pakistan, none of the legislators had actually spoken out about it. So we did send emails, and we did contact them, and a lot of legislators then issued statements about the tragic incident in Pakistan in a park, a children's park. So a lot of kids were killed, almost 200. So
Yeah, that was very tragic, Every time we think about that, those memories come back. I hope we don't have any more incident like that any part of the world, and we strongly condemn that. And
right.
I think but we also need to raise our voices how we can prevent to
Right.
happen.
And one more thing, Shoaib, I wanted to talk before we take the questions. We are also educating ourselves in how to interact with the media. So we are actually trying our best to be in the forefront, and whenever we get an opportunity for the media to talk to the media, we do that.
Yeah.
This is the only way Pakistani American community will be visible and their issues will be heard.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And today's practice probably a good one too. So I see some more events you're sharing here. I think this is regarding you already talked
Media
about
training.
that, media training.
Right. I just did. And this is, we recently had a PakPac retreat, which was very aggressive, thanks to our consultant, Ari Middleman. And it was very beneficial to most of the board members, where we were trained on media and fundraising and different issues. So the issues themselves that impact Pakistani American community. So we keep in perspective that when we address Pakistani American issues, vicariously that impacts Pakistan and Pakistan's policies.
Yep, I totally agree with that. And in general, in Muslims, being a Muslim, definitely we speak about all the issues that impact us, right? And I see that this is the website that you PakPac organization has.
Right.
And this
Please log in. The PAC is only is dependent on its membership. Please log in, become a member of PakPac, so that as the membership increases, the louder our voice gets.
Yep, I totally agree. So this is the PakPac organization website, pakpacusa.org, and there's an email address. You can email us any question do you have regarding organization or any issue that you'd like to bring it up, that we should be talking about that. So I will open the forum a little bit for questions.
Sure.
I have a question from Mr. Salman Malik. His question is, what's the difference between a PAC and a super PAC? Can you please go over that briefly?
Sure. A PAC has certain restrictions as far as monetary donations are concerned. Super PAC doesn't, it's unlimited. You can donate as much money as you want to a super PAC, whereas for a PAC, each individual can donate only $5,000.
I see. So that's a key difference about how much they can do.
Absolutely.
I see.
Right.
Okay, wonderful. And I have one more question. It is from audience. What do you feel like how Pakistani Americans can actively participate in the upcoming election? If you want to talk about that a little bit.
Sure. They are very vibrant right now, more so than any other election before. But again, it's happening on individual basis. As far as the presidential elections are concerned, contest is concerned. A lot of money is being donated by Pakistani Americans to different candidates. But as a PAC, we feel that it is of no gain to the community itself. If it had been done through the PAC, we would be able to reach out to them and ask for certain things from them.
Yeah.
Whereas right now, it's just a photo op, and or one individual getting a position or being invited to the inauguration, getting front seat. So we need to keep in perspective that if we want to impact the policy in this country, we need to be together and we need to be unified, and we need to use the platform of PakPac, since PakPac is the only Pakistani American FEC registered PAC in the United States.
Uh-huh. And I have one attendee he has raised his hand, he has want to ask some question. So I will take this call. Okay.
Sure.
Mr. Muzaffar, please go ahead. I have opened the line. You can ask your question.
Yeah. This is Muzaffar Chaudhry from Atlanta. I'm a retired IBM professional.
How are you?
To introduction. The question is, first of all, congratulations for putting this together. This is to reach out to the community.
You're welcome.
And
Thank you very much.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
The second part is you have a goal to achieve 2026, to have a person on the federal level to be elected. To do that, you should have a small goal. This is not a question. This is more like a suggestion to get these 700,000 people, about 1 million Pakistani community people, to be part of this PAC. And I will suggest that you have to drive a membership kind of thing to get these people under your umbrella, to have a voice heard. So this is more like a suggestion.
Absolutely, you're 100% right. We are actually that date 2026 might be sooner than we anticipated, because we have one legislator, Ali Mirza, running from the 5th District of New York, who is being supported by PakPac. And we would actually suggest and insist on all the Pakistani Americans to support him as much as possible, in 3 ways actually: by voting for him if they are from that district, by donating money to his campaign, by using themselves as human resources to promote his campaign. So that might be sooner than later, and I absolutely agree with you that we need to get all those 700,000 Pakistani Americans become members of PakPac, and this is the reason why we have started doing webinars, why we have blast emails, and inshallah, I'm very hopeful that we will get there.
Yeah, inshallah.
Thank you so much for your suggestion.
Okay, thank you. Just to follow up, you should have on in your, not that this is a suggestion again, in your go ahead or in your plan that how you can get these 700,000 in your under your umbrella, and in your next meeting you should have some plan and in place, and you can share with us.
Sure, sure. Just to let you know, we have a strategy for it, and that is the reason why we pick board members from different states so we can diversify and promote. And then the second step of that strategy is that all our board members are doing advocacy workshops, not only within their own communities but in neighboring communities as well, asking their friends to host those advocacy workshops. We have experts on politics and elections who go to those advocacy workshops and talk about how we can mobilize the community and how we can have a stronger voice.
This is just a last question, and I will give it to somebody else. The chapters, do you have chapters in different big cities or states?
Not yet. We call them actually, we don't call them chapters because there's some, chapters, legal issues, and the, kind of logistics of the whole thing. We have representatives. We call them representatives who are leaders of that community who can host PakPac events, and we provide them with all the tools to actually not only initiate the events but also how logistically how they can do the event itself. We bring the issues to them. We have a toolkit on educating them how to do fundraising. We do the sign-up sheets. We do the invitations for the community members. So we pick up all that work off of their shoulders, and as long as they're willing to host an event. So if you know anybody or if you want to do an event in Atlanta, please let us know and we will do it. You can either email us or directly contact one of the board members.
Okay. Thank you very much for putting this together.
No problem. Thank
you. Thank you, Muzaffar, for calling.
Muzaffar. Thank you for your question and your suggestion. I think suggestions like this can definitely help us to further promote this organization. And please spread the word in your area as well, and share this website information that we are just sharing on the screen now, and the email for any further questions and suggestions. At this point, I don't have any question, any pending question. If any of our audience like to ask questions even after this session, please email that to at info@pakpacus.org. Thank you very much again. I appreciate the Rifat for your time and all attendees who attended today's event. And thank you very much. You all have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Chef. Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.